Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Politically Incorrect Knitters. I'm Deplorable Knitter, and um, I am by myself. I don't know where Anne is. I was waiting for her, but it was starting to get a little late. So hopefully she'll join us shortly. But thanks for being on, guys. Good morning. Oh, there she is. I guess I just had to go live.
Hang on, you started without me.
I did start without you. Well, it is 5 after 10, and you promised to be early today.
Well,
I was saying I didn't know where you were, but we were going to make it work. I'm so glad you're here though, because I don't have enough to talk about on my own. I didn't watch enough news.
well, that's important. Well, first off, I assume you introed,
I
but
did.
happy Veterans Day, everybody. Remembrance Day weekend.
Yep.
All the rest of it.
Sorry, guys. So Anne,
Yes.
do you have the info about Chicken Lady that we wanted to share this week available? Or can you get that?
I can.
Okay, you get that. So while Anne's looking around for that stuff, I'll tell you guys what I'm working on because I'm actually knitting today, which is a lot of fun. This is my stained glass spirals beanie. I think the pattern came out like 2 years ago, but there's a family at co-op who my kids have gotten close with, and they are going to have a baby. And so I was going to make the baby a couple things, and I was like, well, I should make the other kids some stuff. So I picked up this Red Heart Unforgettable Stripes. And with the way the patterns repeat, I'm going to be able to make hats for all the kids, girls and boys, with the same yarn, without it like the boys aren't going to have pink and stuff, which is going to be fun, I think. So that's what I've been working on. And yesterday I mailed out 7 hats for sailors. I accidentally forgot to mail one that I had around and ready, but I got 7 of them, which isn't bad.
Better than I did.
Yeah? How many did you mail?
I think 6, but
like I said,
some of them I pulled from stash, so it's kind
of and to be
most
completely transparent, my mom made 4 of them, so really I only made 3. So it's not quite as good as it sounds. But yeah, so the Unforgettable, I love it. And with this pattern, I'm going to be able to make several hats with these 2 skeins. I got a Red Heart soft gray, and then this. And like I said, I'm going to be able to kind of cut the yarn up and make the hats for the boys, make the hats for the girls. And
right.
Because I just figured, since I was going to make something for the baby, I might as well throw in a couple hats for the girls too. So
I have cut up many a variegated skein of yarn.
I do it all the time, especially when I hate when I'm working and it's got an established pattern, and all of a sudden there's a knot in it or something changes and it's wrong. I can't let that happen. I have to fix it so that it keeps going the way it was, because otherwise it's no good. So
you have to re-find another variegated skein where everything was. And
yep. Yeah. But so want to bring us this word from our sponsor, Miss Chicken Lady?
Yes, that is exactly what I'd like to do. I'm sorry. I had to I can't find my notebook this morning, so I am all in every direction.
Oh no.
I know.
What will we do?
I have no idea. We'll have to figure it out. But our sponsor, Chicken Lady Fiber Arts, is giving away a 24-day fingering weight advent calendar. The receiver will get 24 mini skeins plus a regular size skein and some little goodies thrown in. And like any advent calendar, you can open it one day at a time, or you can just open them all at once, because it's going to be awesome. And so for subscribing to our newsletter, you get an entry. There will be newsletters coming out on November 17th and 24th, and each of the newsletters are instructions on how to get extra entries. And the winner will be chosen after American Thanksgiving, and it will be mailed out as soon as Lynn has the address. So yeah, check out her. Again, her website is chickenladyfiberarts.com. So you can go ahead and subscribe to her newsletter there.
Yep. You guys haven't seen us saying yet because Anne and I went back and we recorded a few episodes for when I'm laid up. But subscribe to the newsletter because you get info, you get previews of what's going to come out, and like right now she's doing a giveaway. So,
yep.
And she's not one of those people that clogs your inbox. Really, she sends like twice a month. I think if there's something special, she might send like an extra one, but it's never like. I hate when I get on a mail list and they are there every day. Like, I don't want to see you every day. There are people in my real life I don't want to see every day. So, but
and
yes, Anne.
And just to repeat again that with our promo code, you can get 20% off your orders. PIK Deplorables 20.
Thank you very much. So what about you, Anne? What's new this week?
Well, I'm still working on the same old things, but I am now at 4 Christmas stockings. So that's cool.
What is that, like a seed stitch on the top, or what's that pattern? Are there baubles?
No, it's a sort of 4x4 square of knits and pearls. So
cute. I like it.
Yeah, because like I said before, I'm not used to working with such chunky yarn. And I'm sitting here and I'm going like, okay, so for the cuff, I'll have to like turn it over or do something to make it more substantial. And then I'm like, what are you saying, Anne? This stands up straight on its own anyways. I don't need like, oh yeah, I need a reinforced cuff. You don't need a reinforced cuff.
You're too funny.
Get over that.
So what, you've got 2 more of those to make then? Is that the plan?
Yep, cool. 6 total. So yeah, I started on the last one because I actually got a message yesterday that somebody wants a custom Christmas stocking through my Etsy shop. Somebody wants a Christmas stocking for their dog, and that just makes me laugh. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, so there's that. I still have the Rockefeller shawl that I'm working on. My spinning wheel has broken, which makes me very upset. By broken, so you have the sort of pedal and you have the 2 pegs that keeps it sort of attached to the legs of the spinning wheel. And I've lost one of the pegs in moving it. And I can't find it anywhere. And I've moved it like locations, like it was in the vehicle and then back. So I have no idea where this is. And I had this like broken wooden knitting needle and I broke it further to stick it in the thing like, oh yeah, this will work just fine. And it was not. It turns out if it's strong enough for me to break with the scissors, it's not strong enough to hold the pressure of when my foot's on it. So
yeah, that does make sense though, now that you say it,
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to have to figure out some sort of fix. Maybe I'll find a nail or, walk into the hardware store and be like, sir, I have one of these. What do I do for a second?
I bet you, this might be a strange idea, but I bet whoever makes your spinning wheel sells replacement parts.
No,
they don't.
No, my spinning wheel has no name or any sort of background, or like I've had people who know what they're talking about spinning wheels walk by and be like, "Huh, what's that?" I'm like, "I don't know."
I don't know. It's just this thing I got. Whatever.
And like, is it a blah blah blah? And I'm like, no. And they're like, no, you're right. It doesn't look like that. I'm like, okay. Like, have a whole conversation in which I'm barely involved. But I got my wheel that a friend of a friend got it at a Goodwill. So we have no idea how old it is or anything like that. I had one person say like, oh, this must have been made to be a collapsible spinning wheel. And again, the same smile and nod thing where it's like, is that why it keeps falling apart? It's meant to do that.
Yeah, I don't know much about spinning wheels, so I can't help there. Sorry.
Well,
I
neither do
thought
I.
I thought I had a point, but I guess I don't. I will just keep knitting.
Oh, that's fine. But yeah, it's its own thing. But like I said, I'm trying to spin different stuff and think that would be a nice break. Like, oh yeah, I'll do this. Like, it's not working.
Hmm.
Best solution is I'll just find the part. Um, Otherwise, well, we'll see how it goes.
Very cool. So while you were talking, I was listening, but I also I was also thinking inside my brain. Um, because we had so many people do the politically incorrect knit along for the hats for sailors, and we didn't have anything to give them. So I'm thinking that we'll go through all the people in our groups that did it, and I'll post something on Instagram. And I think we should give them a copy of our new friend Cody Schlegel's book, Odyssey Tale.
Sure.
Find out what kind they want and take care of that for them. But we have a new sponsor. I mentioned it last week. I read a lot. Like right now on my life, I say read, but I listen to a lot of books. I've got like 8 books on my shelf right now. Like I can't even decide which one I'm going to read next because that's how I roll.
Right.
Um, but I've been getting tired of the woke agenda and all the books. And our new friend has a really great fantasy novel that is completely free of political agenda. It is just a fantasy to have a fantasy, which is great. It's loosely based on like Homer and different fairy tales, and there's a ton of characters that you know and love in it, but they're doing stuff that you don't expect them to do because we're used to certain versions of them.
Right.
And so Cody has taken them and been like, nah, we're not going to have them be like the damsel in distress. We're going to have them be like a kick ass. And it is really cool. So, yeah, I think for our politically, anybody who joined in our knit along, uh, we're going to do a giveaway. You can get a book from our friend Cody. It's a really great Christmas gift. Um, so, look for that. We're going to post some information. I think we'll do it next week to give, you know, actually you don't have to look for information because you either participated in it or not. So there you go.
Right.
You're
There you
somebody
go.
is going to win a book just because you knit some hats for sailors. So thank you very much for
Exactly.
doing it.
You thought you were doing this just out of the goodness of your heart, but surprise, there's a giveaway.
Well, why not, right? And I know Cody was excited for us to give out some books, so let's do it. Um, and I wanted to say something else about the knit along. We got a comment last week that told us that we were wasting our time knitting hats for sailors because they're terrible to, they don't appreciate stuff and you shouldn't do stuff for military people. And so I had a couple hats I'd finished and that kind of made me sad. And the family I'm knitting these hats for that are my friends,
Mhm.
um, they her husband was deployed in Iraq. And so I was talking to her about it before I mailed them. And, I was telling her, like, am I wasting my time? Should I do this? And she told me that every single thing her husband got while he was deployed, he has kept and brought home. So I just wanted to, if anybody else saw the comment, if anybody else has heard this stuff, in any group you're in, there are jerks.
Right.
It's life. So you might, somebody might not appreciate what you make. They might, whatever, but the vast majority is going to be more like my friend's husband, who is been he's a retired military. He's disabled, and they still have everything that he got because it meant that much to him while he was away. So that's all. And I know it's easy to be cynical, but
It's true. And I mean, like you said, that some people, sorry,
something. Okay, can you guys hear me?
I can.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
I can't hear you, Anne. Can everybody else hear Ann?
Well, this might get interesting. Hang on.
How about now? Okay, everybody else can hear you. I just can't.
Okay.
Well, that's going to make life hard.
Let's see. Gotta make sure I'm all plugged in and everything. 1 second. Is that good? No? We might just have two totally separate conversations. I have to tell by her eyes what she's thinking.
I got nothing, but you can hear me.
Yep.
You've got to be kidding me. Okay, Ann, you talk. I'll come back.
Okay. But anyways, with yeah, sorry, Jennifer, I don't know sign language. But with giving, with any sort of charitable giving, it's like some people you give it to are jerks, and some sincerely appreciate it. So it's a back and forth for that. It's a, you know, God sends rain on the just and the unjust. That the part of the charitable part of it is that, you know, you're kind to whoever you're giving it to, not necessarily just because they're grateful. Hear me now? Still no? Okay, I'm going to log out and then come back in if that's okay. She can't hear me. Well, we're going to see how that works anyways. Okay, I will be back.
So what do you want to? Oh, no. I did replug in my earphones and I got a new set and it's still not working. I don't know if it's my phone. Sorry about the technical difficulties, everybody.
Okay, is it working now?
I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you too. Okay, awesome. Okay. Sorry.
Great.
Okay.
All right. So sorry about that, everybody. I've been using the corded ones because they work better. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Apparently not today. Sorry about that. So
yep.
Anyway, what did I miss? Anything? You good?
No, not really. Okay. Brief monologue on charity. Unimportant. Let's go.
Okay. So what else do we have to talk about? Shall we get into our politics?
Yes.
Okay. I know that you probably have a list, but I have one little thing I heard on the news this morning I wanted to mention.
Sure.
So I live in New York, and it sucks here. We know that pretty much. And so Chuck Schumer. It's my state. And so in like some of the cities. Sorry, somebody was calling me. I swear today is not my day. I can't help it.
That's right. I'm sorry. Schumer.
No, but so in a lot of the cities, crime rates are really high. Like in a nearby city, there were 2 homicides last night. And so Chuck Schumer is pushing universal background checks on everybody who owns a gun and no assault rifles. And I totally get what he's trying to do. But the problem is he's not thinking about who is doing this. Are the people who are shooting other people law-abiding citizens?
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure that a background check isn't going to help anybody because they're a bunch of douches.
How many times do you have a criminal and they're like, oh no, they left the gun at the crime scene. It's registered to this person. Well, we'll just go to their house. That's not how it works.
It's not even a little bit how it works. And also on the news today, I was seeing that they're talking about our new governor is sending us okay. They want more state troopers. All last summer, it was defund the police, get rid of police, and now we're getting extra state troopers, extra sheriffs, extra So,
yeah, we're defunding.
Are you guys trying to tell me that this isn't working? Is that what's happening?
It's like for whatever issues the police may have, part of being the police is that they're local. Oh yes, we can have larger authorities and they will be more kind and considerate towards the people that they police because it's the state troopers and we haven't put out the big defund the state troopers sign yet.
Well, I don't know. And I think that part of declaring it a state of emergency means that they can like call in extra people and whatever. I don't like army and I don't know. I don't understand what the end game is, but
well, anytime that it's like state of emergency, that's great. I have special powers now. It's like stop right now.
Right. So there's that, and the other thing that happened that is completely unrelated to that is the vaccines for kids. I can't tell you how many parents I have seen being like, oh yeah, well, I just bribed little Johnny with an ice cream supper to get his shot. And all the progressives are like, they're against Big Bird, and I don't understand why. And dude, you guys are using Big Bird to indoctrinate my kids that they should be getting the shot when it's not Big Bird's choice. It's my choice. I'm the parent. And that's the problem with it. It's not that, I would be upset if Big Bird was promoting, abortion that I don't agree with. It's you're using a child thing to promote something that is not a child choice. That's not a, they're disgusting.
And I mean, you could almost say, and Big Bird says that you need to tell mommy and daddy that you need to vote those evil Republicans out of office. Oh wait, I think to a certain extent Sesame Street's been saying that for a while. But still, it's not a kid issue. It's not that it is it's very clearly, and like the whole Big Bird being on Twitter thing, a 5-year-old does not have Twitter, or at least and why, and one would assume that if an adult follows Big Bird on Twitter, that, again, this is some weird mental loop for me. Do you then show your child what Big Bird puts on Twitter to like social media eyes? I don't get that. That's not.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I don't get any of it, but there's a reason we don't like Big Bird promoting it. It's because Big Bird is not an authority. You're using a kid thing to try to indoctrinate my children. It's like the teachers who purposely go out and get picture books about things that I don't agree with and try to show them to my kids. I don't allow that. I protect what my children see and hear. Thus the reason we never got into Sesame Street, but
right.
I don't know, man.
Which is funny because, I mean, sorry, I have an echo. Okay, I think it's gone. No, but for years, I mean, like you said, Sesame Street, it's like we all kind of knew it had a liberal bias, but how many things like that over the past couple of years? So you're like, well, we've known it had a liberal bias, but we were really shocked at Drag Queen Story Hour. Let me tell you.
The fact that they tried to make why do drag queens need to be around kids? What purpose does that serve?
And more than that, well, not more than that, valid question, but that they did not do, background checks for, background checks for, people who have rifles. It's like more important. Let's have background checks on anyone that we have any like public story hour with at all, period. Let's just start there. Even, Drag Queen Story Hour. That'd be very important. I'd, check mark that one.
Freaking dude. I'm just really tired of it. And then I see all these schools that are like trying to do clinics and they're trying to take the I don't know, I was going to say sovereignty, but I don't think they're just trying to take away the parents' ability to parent.
Yeah. And, the idea that, the state is a better parent than you are because, those poor kids in foster care, they're really well adjusted. Like there's, if you have all those horrible situations where it's like, oh, well, social services had to come. Like, oh, well, were they so much help? That's,
Yeah.
I mean, not that we need social services, but again, social services, the more privatized and more private sector social services is, the easier it is to get rid of the bad people. Not that, again, corruption be happening everywhere, but having, it's like, oh, well, the government must be good because it's the government. Let's look at the government's track record because it's really bad. Like this is a little international news, but Mark Stein recently got the Friday slot for GB News, which is really exciting for me, anyways. So I've been listening to him, and this week, the Rotterdam, euthanized grooming gangs, which I believe the story first broke in 2016. And it's still happening, and there was a huge outrage about it. And no, it's still going on, and talking to girls who have been abused and everything. And the social workers, apparently, that when they come in, that they're here to talk about resilience, that they're not here to talk about it not happening again, that the police haven't done anything, that there's, it's a horrible, horrible situation. And to have, again, police and social services and everybody still turn a blind eye, even though they're a byword for, again, horrible abuse to young girls in England, that anyways, it's a mess. But the same idea of, oh, well, the school system does, will raise your kids, you won't do anything. You specifically care about your children, and you specifically know what's best for them. And having the sort of generalized kick the can down the road, oh, well, I'm sure somebody will, is, yeah, anyways, it's what's worse for the kids. There's a reason why, having, individual family pods who run themselves, small government, and even small government when it comes to interpersonal relations is the best way to go.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Sorry, I was just getting text while you were talking. It distracted me slightly. My friend that I had dinner with this week just tested positive for COVID.
Oh, okay.
And so that might mess up my surgery. So I got a little bit off the thing. So sorry about that, Anne. I apologize.
Well, that's true.
I really hope not.
Getting the vid.
Yeah, no. Well, it's really too bad. Her family is terrified of getting COVID. Absolutely, completely terrified. And they've gotten it. And so hopefully everything goes well for them. But I will have to call her after. So I apologize. I did not get the whole thread of what you were saying. That's okay, because I can tell that in our comments our friends have. So.
Okay.
I'm telling you, today is just not my morning. I apologize. So what else do we have going on?
Well, I think the biggest sort of story this week is the Kyle Rittenhouse case, which was also kind of funny because we again, you mentioned that we pre-recorded an interview. So I'm sitting there and I'm on the computer and I'm, looking over, details for this interview. And I have, the case on the TV. And it was exactly that moment where Kyle is up on the stand, and I'm sure we all saw it, or many people who are listening saw it, and he breaks down in tears. And it's just like, and I, look up and it's like having a moment, like, no, quick, interview, go.
Pay attention to what you're planning on. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
No, but okay, so I have not watched it as faithfully as I ought. A friend of mine, like, she's been watching like wall-to-wall coverage, just the whole thing. Like, okay, give me the highlights. And it really is fascinating, just from a procedural standpoint, all the different things that they have to do in the case, the what questions are allowed and what questions aren't allowed. It's quite interesting, and I don't know, it's kind of a relief as we're going through that, there's so much evidence, so much video evidence that this was self-defense, and the prosecution is hilariously bad, but
it almost seems fake that how bad he is. Like, how can this dude even?
Right. But it seems to me that he's such a bad prosecutor from the perspective of, like, he is there to get media clips. Like the kid, again, by the video, that he was definitely defending himself. But the only, excuse me, that the only way to seemingly win this is by having out of context news clips and pull things out in the court of public opinion. Like, I mean, several of the questions that the prosecution has asked has just been just stupid. That things like, oh, well, so you grabbed a fire extinguisher to run over. Like, why didn't you leave your gun behind? It's like, and you can see the look in Kyle's face, like, but you want me to leave the gun in
the rioters and the looters?
Yeah, in a crowd of violent people. It's like, sir, that is not safe. And it's like, do you want me to leave a loaded gun anywhere in public at any time? What? Like, that's not what we do.
So it's really funny because in the comments we have friends saying things like, they love when the judge slams the prosecutor, and that they like it that he's not allowing the prosecutor to intimidate, anybody. And I have an account where I follow more liberal people just to see what the other side is saying. And like, they despise this judge. They can't believe how racist he is. And when his phone went off and it's saying "Proud to be American," they were all like, "Oh, it was Trump's theme song." And that's a song. It's been around a lot longer than Trump. It doesn't mean that the judge, well, I mean, if it's his ringtone, he probably is patriotic, but that doesn't mean that he's like a Trump guy. Like, I don't know. It's just very strange.
He was a liberal appointed judge. I mean, whatever that stands for. But I don't know, it's crazy. And Proud to be American, speaking of the Navy, whenever that song plays, my brother mentions, who is also in the Navy, that was the song that they played when it was boot camp graduation. Right. And it's like, oh, well, it's only Trump's now.
It's a song. It's been around. I mean, how long has that been around? Since the 90s? Like, since it's been around as long as Anne has, all right, guys? So.
Yes, I've measured my life, and it's proud to be an American. And
Anne has been alive longer than Trump was president, so therefore,
slightly.
I call crap on these people.
And the campaign included. But yeah, it was, so I get unsolicited emails from Yahoo News and iHeartRadio. And I'm like, what the heck? But at the same time, I'm like, this, sitting here like, this is some fine propaganda. Like, I have not seen propaganda like this. But yeah, it was Yahoo News saying, like, how not to be a judge. I'm like, I'm sorry, I saw this man and I went, why isn't he on the Supreme Court? You mean someone who values the rule of law and your constitutional rights above everything else, and how has had a very clean trial down the line, has disallowed things on both the prosecution and the defense, and then yelled at the prosecution for questioning someone's right to remain silent. I mean, it's like, oh, play by the rules and let's have a good fair game out there. And no, that must be a Republican bias. Is rather telling.
Yeah, it's But the thing is, and if the guy was leaning the other way, there would be nary a word spoken about it on that side. They would love him, and they would. The fact that he's, not even leaning conservative, he is just being like, these are the rules. Heaven forbid. Oh, and they hate that he made him call, instead of calling him a victim, they called him like a rioter or whatever instead.
Right.
Like that just really irked everybody.
Because of the riots, sir.
Could be.
Well, even when it started out with, it's like, oh, well, he was just committing arson. And the judge was like, you're not going to say a little bit of arson. Like, that's not, who does that?
He was just committing a little bit of arson.
A little bit. Seriously, if I were to walk in and commit a little bit of arson, no one would be like, well, don't we all?
Yeah. That's craziness, man. No, I haven't followed the trial, though. I've been doing, like, other things. So, what else? Besides Kyle Rittenhouse, what do we got?
Well, just a brief pause, that Miss Wombat of Doom, which is the best name, said that the song was released in 1984.
Oh, wow. So it's been around as long as I've been, almost as long as I've been alive. That's insane. I could have sworn it was the 90s. Maybe it just got popular. I feel like I remember it being popular when Bush went into something. Whatever war that was. The first Bush, not the second one. Desert Storm? Is that what the right time?
Maybe. So 84 was when Reagan came in, so yeah, that'd be after.
Yeah. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. But
so anyway, sorry. I have vague knowledge. I don't keep dates and things in my head the way Anne does.
No, that's all right. I don't either. I was, I don't know. I was listening to a book this week. It is, it's William Buckley's, The Reagan I Knew. And there's a lot of politics and history from the 80s that I don't know. So now I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. I did not know, simple stuff like Nixon did an appeasement to China. And at the time, it was definitely to Red China, that there was no like, oh, well, China, our friends and allies, like, no, this is Red China. This is straight up communism. And there was a lot of conservatives at the time that were sitting there like, what is he doing?
Right. So Chicken Lady, our good friend Chicken Lady, said that it was 91, Desert Storm. So I vaguely knew what I was talking about, just so you all know. And then we got Wombat of Doom asking if we've been watching what's happening in New Zealand. I have not. I don't know if Anne has. Have you seen any of that, my friend?
Not in New Zealand, unfortunately. I have seen some of the protests in Melbourne, Australia, which is good because Australia still be crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think New Zealand's right on the same timeline, isn't it?
They're on the same level.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know enough about it to go farther in.
No, me neither. I've been remiss in my news watching duties. I have been. What have I been doing? I've been cleaning my house. I had to rearrange some stuff because my mother and my mother-in-law are many inches shorter than I am, and they couldn't reach where, I kept the cereal and the snacks and things. And so, I've been addressing issues like that because they're going to be helping me after my surgery. And if Grandma can't get the snacks down or the cereal, we're going to have issues. So,
mini riot in the kitchen.
Well, then I will be trying to help them, which is not what I'm supposed to be doing. So, therefore,
Right.
Oh, Wombat of Doom says that she knows about what's up because I don't remember how to say her name, but is it Mary or it's Marie or I'm not sure.
Marie Vesky, I believe.
Has been keeping her update. She is the person who owns Skeins, works for Skeins, runs it, something like that. I've been meaning to talk to her. I just keep forgetting. Wombat of Doom, hook us up, all right? It's just one of those things that have been on the list. We'd love to talk to her. So, what about England? What have we got going on there? Anything new?
Sorry. Yes. Besides the whole Rotterdam thing, I mean, we have the COP26 conference in Scotland where John Kerry is basically quoting what's her face, Greta Thunberg. He's saying that all of these youthful voices outside who want there to be action and not just talk, and I'm sitting here going, so I heard that the state of Maine, that their electricity is going to be up like 80% this year. And I'm sitting here and it snowed on Veterans Day and it stuck, which is really weird for a first snow. Like there's still snow on the ground now. And I'm sitting here going like, oh, good. A new winter of discontent. This is going to be awesome. Apparently the grocery store was just like wild that people,
but you live in South Dakota. Snow is not new.
It isn't.
It's a pretty common thing where you live.
It's extremely common. Maybe, I mean, even I'll go to the grocery store and stock up a little bit, but, it could also be all of our new residents from various places of California and Florida and Texas. There's a surprising amount of Florida and Texas plates here. I mean, you think that you'd be moving there, but apparently they think it's better here. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's weird because I guess maybe what's happening in Florida is that all the people from around me are moving down there and they're like, dude, we got to get away from these people. That's
Florida man
possible.
Neighborhood's getting way too crazy.
Yeah, we're supposed to get some snow this weekend, but it's gonna be like high 30s, so it's not gonna stick, which will disappoint my children greatly, but it will make me very happy. So
Right.
But
I know it's concerning, and with sitting here like, oh no, all the new people coming to South Dakota, will our crime rate rise? And one of the towns here, there's a story of, oh no.
Oh no, you froze.
Yeah. But I mean, so our largest cities in South Dakota are Sioux Falls on the eastern end and Rapid City on the western end. So hearing of crime in those cities, you're like, oh wow, crime rate's getting crazy, everyone. But in the smaller towns, it's much, much less. And there was an armed robbery the other day, and we're like, oh no, what happened? And the kind of story of that is like, this man was an idiot. That he, that he robbed that he was, that he robbed the convenience store first thing in the morning when, again, who robs a store in daylight when the till is fresh? So you only have the counted out bills and you take that and go. It's like, sir.
Yeah. No, the time to rob anything is not the first thing in the morning.
On crime. Let's make that very clear. Crime, bad. Robbery, we're against it. But also... Right.
But I was a bank teller, and let me tell you, we count our drawers down to like $200 or something, and everything else had to come from the safe until you got into the swing of things. Right. So first thing in the morning is not when you do it. That's all I know.
Exactly. So the criminal, don't know anything about him, because as far as I know, they still haven't caught him, and he had a face mask and everything else, but it's like, this is not, I don't know about your personal best work, but this was not it. It's like, pass back. Like, giving this a D-.
It's funny.
Anyways.
Yeah. So Kendra is asking why Cedar Hills is closing. I think that just business has been hard for her, and then with mask mandates and not as many opportunities to do shows and stuff, she's just made the choice to be done with the yarn business, unfortunately. Right, Anne? And I know she's having a sale. So
yes,
25% off, I believe, right now.
Yep. Yep, that she is she's having 25% off. And I believe the Woolly Cabin, who is another shop that is closing, has further discounted the yarn that she has left. You know, when it's gone, it's gone.
Yep. So, I mean, very sad for them, but I guess if you guys need some stuff for gift making, it might not be a bad thing for you to check out.
Right.
Unfortunately. There's a big long question. Basically, the economy killed her, yeah. Oh, Wambata Doom said that she was the last dyer in Georgia that she knew of. That's a bummer.
Really?
Yeah. We're going to make it our mission to find one. There's got to be another dyer in Georgia.
Surely.
Anne and I will scout this out for you guys. Jean's saying that China's communist, free New Zealand and Australia.
Pretty much.
Australia cut off broadcast, so police shooting rubber bullet. Probably about them shooting rubber bullets at protesters. Nice.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's crazy. We need to make sure we don't have this happen, friends. Well, everybody who's going. Oh, sorry. Yes, you go, Ann.
No, I was about to say, sorry, that, you know, I mentioned that, you know, listening to Mark Stein, and he had Conrad Black on, I guess, Lord Conrad Black, who used to own The Spectator. And he's a part of the House of Lords, and his accent is interesting because I believe he's Canadian, but he has like a bit of like Southern accent mixed in there too. I'm like, you know, where do you spend your time, sir? But I was listening to it, and I mean, I had other things going on that day too, but I was kind of getting upset a little, and because he was all like, oh, well, everything in the end will be okay, because after all, you know, America is still fighting back, as if America is going to fix this. And I'm like, sir, you know, it's like, I don't want to misrepresent what you say. And I understand that you are a newspaper man, and perhaps, you know, you have a larger, you know, formulation of this thought than what you are currently saying in this brief clip. And in sitting there, like, he's like, oh, well, you know, as if Europe won't do anything, or as if the Commonwealth countries won't do anything. And I'm sitting there like, I am on my lunch break at my regular job, and you, sir, are a lord and a member of parliament, and you're saying I'm going to fix it? I was just like getting upset here. like, I'm sorry. You know, I was a little bit inclined to give the same response to people in Commonwealth countries as I do people coming over our border. If y'all like freedom so much, you should try it at home.
Yes. Yes, that's the best place to do it, honestly.
Right. And that is also, again, a little reactionary, because after all, I know that there's people in Australia protesting, and I know that there's people in New Zealand protesting, and in England, and I haven't seen it in Canada that much, but I assume it's there, that there are people pushing back, and there are people, you know, in France, certainly, in Poland. There you go.
Sorry. Just figured it was a good time. Yes. Yes.
Right. And yeah, perfect time for that. But, you know, there's nothing like getting something done than trying. So it's very much it's like, well, where do you start? You start small and you keep pushing.
Yep.
And let's see, I believe it was again, it was a Nigel Farage clip saying that, and for him, Brexit took almost 30 years. But it's if you have a consistent and reasonable and straightforward message, that will win the day.
You are correct. What'd you say?
And you're just having fun with your hat, which is good too.
But it's a consistent, easy, straightforward message. I am just sharing it with our friends.
That's right. But yes, that you need, again, reasonableness and consistency and not flying off the handle and even-headedness and just keep going. And I mean, looking, Poland, November 11th is also their Independence Day. It's not just, Armistice Day or Veterans Day for us. But they have huge issues right now. Protests with, it looked like a St. George and the Dragon sort of thing, with, the dragon being covered in the EU flag. And it was estimated 150,000 people out as their kind of Independence Day rally thing, but a lot of messages about that. Why? Because the European Union is bullying them. Why? Because the European Union are bullies and awful. And right now, Poland's having a lot of border issues that they're trying to, they have a fence, and they are trying to, I have to remember how it is. I believe from Belarus is the border that they have, that they're trying to shove immigrants over. But I may be wrong with that. But there are border breaches, and it is the the immigrants and quote refugees that are trying to be shoved over the Polish border, and their side is getting violent, and the Polish police are pushing back and getting them out. And I mean, again, poor Poland, because at the same time, Russia is building up forces on the Ukrainian border, because after all, Russia doesn't let opportunities like this go to waste.
Right.
But it's a big issue. And like we've said before, Poland has seen this before, and they are not into it at all. So anyways, so back to the main, that getting out of the EU was a long process, a process that is still ongoing, with different issues, and the whole French fishing thing that different French ministers have said is a direct punishment for Britain leaving the EU, and all sorts of nonsense. But that it can be done, even in the mires of bureaucracy, that you can do it if you
can do it
if you keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, and often has issues. Today are worse than usual, though. Maybe it's the weather.
Probably a frozen line somewhere.
Quote of the day: if you like freedom so much, you should try it at home. Very true.
Anyways, yes, not to, again, America, we have our issues. I'm going to say that, which is another reason why I'm like, no, America doesn't need to do this alone and, cowboy in with our welfare wagon. What we need is strong allies everywhere who are also standing for freedom. And again, our America, gosh, we are really bad at exporting freedom, let me tell you. Like, it's not always, I mean, World War II, go us. But in the past couple decades especially, I mean, in Afghanistan, we leave and the footprint in the sand is brushed away in an instant. That what you need for people to be free is the idea of freedom, the culture of freedom. And did we evangelize that at all? Anyways, it really frustrates me. But at the same time, that in order, that people govern, or a government will be reflective of a people to a certain extent. That governments are naturally corrupt in that way, but that you have a government that the people will accept. That there's sorry.
My hair keeps getting stuck on it. I'm sorry.
There you go. Loosen your earbud.
Today.
I know, yeah. But anyways, that the different peoples and governments around the world, that they're all self. Sorry, reading comments and getting distracted.
This is a good point. It's become a synonym for racist, and it has, because heaven forbid you want things to be people doing things for themselves or things like that, and you're the bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nonsensical, especially since it's like the idea that people know what is best for themselves and can be self-ruling. To think that is I don't know, a horrible Western ideal, and that doesn't work for all peoples of the world. I'm like, that sounds pretty racist to me. And especially since thinking of free societies around the world, that there's different levels of freedom, but until recently with China, Hong Kong had one of the freest economic systems, just as specifically to draw an example, in the world, and which was why it was such a center of commerce and why it did so well. And I can't remember the name of the guy who set it up, but it was basically an English minister and appointed, like, okay, go make the laws in Hong Kong. And his concept was, we don't need that many. Have a couple. I'm going to leave you alone. And it prospered, with little government interference. That it was, again, poor Hong Kong.
Well, I think that the reason they don't push freedom is because they don't really want us to be free. They want us to think that we're free so that they can control us. But if we feel like, oh, yeah, well, we still have free will and we can still do what we want, it's easier to control us because we think we're making the choices.
Right.
So,
I think, again, this is hopping around, and because this is live, I can't really put something up on the screen. But there was a circulated tweet from a lady named Helen who was saying, oh, yeah, you say that you're not going to vaccinate your kids. Well, we own your kids, that there's vaccination clinics in schools. And yep. It wasn't a we own your kids. It was America owns your kids. And which is like, wow. Sorry. But it's like the different views of America in just that statement, that we're America, don't you love America? If you love America, we'll let you do whatever you want for your children. Like that, that's an issue right there.
Yeah, there's some messed up messages going around right now. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are similar things. We're like, oh, yeah, well, you don't want to get your child vaccinated? Well, that's okay. We have schools and we have different places where we can get to them, so it's not an issue. Mm-hmm. Last week, Monday, I think, I got a call from the hospital nearby saying, hey, book your kids' COVID vaccines now. They're available now. And I was like, click, because thanks, but no thanks. Have fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And here, can I do the click thing? No, I can't.
What you want to do? This one from Jean?
Yes, I did. I want to bring up Jean's, because that is an excellent point, that the price of freedom is always responsibility.
Yep. But nobody wants to be responsible anymore. That's the problem. Everybody wants big government to take care of them and watch over them and, give them money.
Well, it's kind of, with, for example, CNN and CNN's ratings. that they have tanked since Trump left office, and still they keep trying to mention Trump to, like, you know, get some interest. Like, please, you know how much you love it when we hate on Trump. Please listen to us again. Not that their ratings were super high to begin with, but like what they had definitely left. And it's kind of the, I guess I would say, luxury of the victors, but that's not quite it. That, oh, well, our guy is in charge, I don't have to pay attention to it anymore. And that's kind of a thing with all of the, you know, small government roles, all of the baseline roles. I just want to live my life, and I don't want anyone, you know, I want to do my thing. I want to, you know, work my job and hang out with my family and go out to dinner with my friends on a weekend. And I don't want to have to think about politics. And to a certain extent, that's a luxury. I mean, it's what we want it to be, and what sometimes we have to be. Got to chill out from politics. But that people, because of this, because of all of the issues, they're going to school board meetings, which you have to. It's part of, you know, you're finding out the name of the city council members and the mayor and the state representatives. And I remember, again, at the beginning of COVID, I was chatting with someone, and I said our governor, and they did not know that our governor was a woman. And it's like, well, everyone knows the name of their governors now.
For real.
You know, that it became extremely important. And I mean, it always is, but, you know, actually looking at the people local to you, you know, are they good? Are they bad? Are they corrupt? Do they listen when their people tell them something? But,
yeah. So, random about governors. You remember when COVID started and everybody thought Cuomo was awesome, and he's got a book deal, and he had that weird poster with the mountain on it and the guy falling, like, it was a bizarre poster.
Yeah, the really poor graphic design that you're like, what's the point of this?
Yeah, well, I heard on the news today that they're actually looking into how he handled the pandemic. And I was like, isn't that interesting?
It's like, wow, you know, you think, sorry, I'm still thinking of the meme where it's like, you know, smacking fannies and killing grannies. That it's like, oh, so we're actually going to pay attention to the second part of that, the part where, you know, nursing home deaths.
I was of the viewpoint that the smacking fannies part was on purposely brought up so that the grannies part was pushed under the rug, but maybe not. I think Hochul's doing such a bad job, they've got to do something to get it off of her, but yeah, I don't know, man.
I know, and that's part of the things too, that, you know, some people are like, if our candidate isn't 100% what I think, then, well, it's just not worth it. And that's part of, it's like this, sorry, you know, like, this is slow. Bureaucracy is slow. Carrying your point in any issue is slow. You can't think that you're going to put 5 minutes of effort into anything and it's suddenly going to be prosperous. Again, you know, to point to issues such as Brexit, where it took almost 30 years. Even larger issues like, you know, in the past, William Wilberforce and, you know, getting rid of slavery in England took 30 years. That we have all of our problems coming to a head at once, and that has definitely woken a lot of people up and hopefully will spur action faster. But, you know, things are so bad that we need to move fast, but also you can't discount, again, steady pushing forward. That and with the different candidates and issues, that it's very much sorry to repeat again, that, you know, politician, you know, power corrupts absolutely, that you have a politician, but if the people are consistently leaning on the politician to do this and not that, it is much harder for a politician to sort of turn out of that way. That if someone's constituents are always telling them, hey, I care about this issue and I want this issue to go this way, well, then it's going to be much more difficult for them, knowing that there will be a fuss at home and everything else, that if they, disagree with their constituents. Not everyone, because people are jerks, but you can't say that you're upset about politicians not listening to you when you don't talk to them. You don't, again, write letters. You don't do anything
because it doesn't seem like a lot's going on, but enough people say stuff. You can see the difference it makes. It might not feel like it, but you can, things have happened with school boards and with religious exemption for the pilots, and they're small things. They're not exactly what we want, but you got to kind of keep picking at it. So,
yep. I got a mailer, or a couple of mailers this past week, from Dusty Johnson saying, look, I'm so tough on China. And I'm like, thanks. Thanks for having to send out a beautiful pressed piece of paper with your face on it to tell me how tough you are on China. That really... But it's like, no, really, I am doing good things. Really, I'm tough. And I'm, again, Dusty.
What are you?
It's like, oh, my pencil-necked geek house representative.
Yeah. But, and we're running a bit long, so let's, guys, make sure you check out our friend Lynn at chickenladyfiberarts.com. She's got some fantastic yarn. She's just fantastic. So make sure you check out her stuff. Join the mailing list, like Anne told you earlier.
Yep, get an entry for her Advent calendar giveaway, which is super exciting. We all love an Advent calendar. And, who doesn't?
Right?
Exactly. And also, again, use our promo code PIK-Deplorables20 for 20% off your order.
Yep. And don't forget, this pattern came out last week. I can never figure out which way I need to go on this. Can't see it that well. It says, let's go, Brandon. This side says FJB. The charts are interchangeable. I kind of forgot to mention that, but they're exactly the same amount of stitches. So you can do 2 of 1. You can do whatever you want with this. So yeah, make sure you check it out in my Galilee Life store. And thanks for joining us this morning. Sorry about our technical difficulties. Thanks for sticking with us. And check us out. Parlor, Gab, MeWe, Vero, Telegram, Instagram, Facebook. I forgot one. Maybe. YouTube, Rumble.
YouTube, Rumble. Rumble's important.
And check out our awesome sponsors, Chicken Lady Fiber Arts and Cody Schlegel with Odyssey Tale. The gift for your people who are sick of the woke agenda. So thanks for joining us, everybody, and we will make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week, okay?
All right, thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.